Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He. Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radha. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Oh Jaya Vrindavan Nandini Radhe Radhe, Vrindavan Nandini Radhe Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shri Guru Garangan Hamid Ki Hari Radha Gopinath Ju Ki Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sripad Sripad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sripad Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Swami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sripad Sripad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sripad Sripad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sripad Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurkishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Satkam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Jagannath Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Baladevi Vibhushan Gauri Vedanta Acharya Ki Jai Jai Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyaman Prabhu Traya Ki Jai Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Rupa Nunga Guru Bharati Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Bhaganath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhata Dasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gaur Parsad Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Hardas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikal Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shri Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Jamuna Ki Jai Parihat Madanga Ki Jai Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Nam Vatam Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shri Satchinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Radha Gopinath Ji Ki Jai Gopinath Bhavan Ki Jai Shri Siksastakam Ki Jai Ananta Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Gopinath Om Adinati Mirandasya Dhyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Onmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Gralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantanam Krityam Akritya Krityam Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Tikam Mayatayo Tarvo Vindustam Sarvabhutam Munimanatoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Chittasya Karmadi Karangamadvi Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charana Ravindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Varadram Tato Manasti Katyena Chapi. I first of all take shelter of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishima Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Swami Iti Nama. And the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishima Sripad Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, and all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who've done the pranams. So far, we've had maybe 3. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me back there? At the back, you can hear? So far we've had, this is the 4th morning, I think. Correct? 25, 26, 27, 28. So we discussed an introduction to this Siksastakam. And in that introduction, we set the background scene. We discussed the current or flow of bhakti since the time of Lord Krishna's departure 5,000 years ago. We ran through the history of bhakti with the Alvars, the Buddha avatar, then Sakya Singha Buddha, the second Buddha, and then Sankaracharya, Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, Nimbaditya, Vishnu Swami, the 4 sampradayas. And we discussed how Mahaprabhu affected these sampradayas, how he reconciled everything with his teaching of Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. So this is like the history, so to speak. And then we discussed the personal build-up to Mahaprabhu speaking this Siksastakam. I told how Jagadananda Pandit came, and seems to go in. Where's the power gone? How Jagadananda Pandit came, and he brought that sonnet from Advaitacharya, and at that time Mahaprabhu's ecstasies increased and increased. And then he began to exhibit such extreme humility. And I've said constantly how humility and praying are synonymous. So we've heard many tattvas and truths. And I've spoken many times that our goal is not to become jnanis. We have to know these foundational truths so that we can enter into the lila. I've said this repeatedly. There's some very beautiful analogies of this that Jiva Goswami gives. He says, like in a time of war, the king, he will pass out all kinds of weapons to the citizens because it's necessary to fight the enemy. So everyone has to fight. The farmer he'll give a sword to, etc., etc. The school teacher will go and fight. Everyone will have a weapon to fight the common enemy. But when the enemy has been defeated, there's no more need for those weapons. All the weapons are returned to the king. Similarly with knowledge, when this knowledge has purified the darkness of our ignorance, then we no longer need that knowledge as such. We no longer think about it. Exactly like the musician. He's not thinking when he's playing, oh, this is C, A, B, D, E, like that. He already knows it, it's already gone, he's left it behind. It's like if someone has a headache, they need an aspirin to cure the headache. But when the headache is gone, you don't need the aspirin anymore. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives an even more beautiful analogy. He said if someone is attacked by a phantom or a ghost, they need jewels and mantras to dispel that ghost. But once the ghost has gone, you don't need to have those rings or jewelry or those mantras anymore. And similarly with knowledge, at some point we need to have this foundational knowledge, but this is not the aim and object. Our aim and object is to develop our attraction for the service of Sri Radha by following in the footsteps of the gopis. The gopis exhibit the greatest love for Krishna in existence. No one shows greater affection and service mood than the gopis of Vrindavan. So this is our goal, is to follow in the footsteps of the gopis of Vrindavan, the Braja Ramanis. This is our goal. It's not our goal to acquire knowledge, but having said this, I'm going to tell you a lot of knowledge today. But understand it in its proper context. Because the next jewel that we've arrived at, we discussed The first jewel. Who can tell me, without looking at any notes, what is the first jewel of this Siksastakam? There are 7 jewels, and the jewels are all summarized in the first verse. Without looking at your notes, who can tell me what is the first jewel? Yes. Yes, yes. You just have to turn that a little bit that way. Just a little bit. No, other way. Yes, that's it, yeah. Is that, yeah, that's perfect. Because this mustn't conflict with that. Cheto Dapana Marjan. Now what is the stage? This is called a ye olde microphone. Oh, you have it? I thought Shamarani took it. Really? Okay, if this gives any more problem, one more problem, then it has to go. Okay? It's been warned. And we're going to do what we said. Okay. What was the stage of bhakti that parallels Cheto Dapana Marjana? Anartha Nivritti. Anartha. Artha is something that has value. Anartha has no value. So anartha nivritti. And then we discussed the 4 types of anarthas, and we also discussed the subsections of those anarthas. Actually today, someone is bringing my computer from Durvasa, and I have many files with all of these truths written on very simply. And I'm going to print them up for you. I have one file with the Astakalya Lila, just on 2 pages. I have another file with just the anarthas and all the subheadings. I have another file with the 3 principal verses to understand Mahaprabhu's desires and the reasons for his descent. So I'll pass these out probably tomorrow for you, and that you can, go over them regularly. So, and then the next stage was what? What is the second jewel? Nishta is the stage of bhakti. And what is the Sanskrit for in the verse? Cheto Dapana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Niyavagni. This blazing fire of material existence. And I described what is the nature of that blazing fire. How that fire is caused by the rubbing together of this friction of these 2 forces. One, that I have more desires than I can ever fulfill, and the other is that I know I don't have enough time to fulfill them. I'm going over this again and again because I want you to learn this. I want you to hear this and take it as a foundation for your practice. I'm not saying all new things. You have to go in the evening to hear Pujapad Vishnu Daivata Maharaj, to hear very sweet, new esoteric truths. I'm going over basic platform, which I think there is a need for. Just to, some of you are quite younger devotees, and you need this foundation to put the rider of rasa on top. So, this Bhava Mahadavagni Varpanam is the stage of Nishta. And I also discussed at this time the stage of Anishtita and the stage of Nishta. There's Anishtita Bhakti and Nishtita Bhakti. You okay? You can still hear? Okay. He's going to put these on the website, you see, and they might be there for some time, and not all can speak Russian, so it will be conflicting. And then yesterday we discussed Ruchi. What is the Sanskrit in the verse? Does someone remember? Cheto Dapanam Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nivarpanam Shreyam Karaiva Chandrika Vitaradam. This is the stage of Ruchi. And these stages are paralleled with the 8 yamas of the day. So this is more or less how far we've reached. So I've just capsulated what we've done so far. Now today we're going to go to the 4th jewel, vidiyavadhu jivanam. This vidya means knowledge.
vidiyavadhu. Vadhu means a young wife. Vidya vadhu jivanam. Jivanam means the life, the energy, the soul. So why is this knowledge described like a young wife? A young wife traditionally is very enthusiastic to render service to her husband. She's very full of energy to please and satisfy her husband. A young wife traditionally is very tender by nature. That's her nature. She hasn't yet learned, how to avoid her husband's whatever. She's very submissive. So this is a wonderful quality. This is a great quality. In a wife or any woman has two principal qualities, chastity and humility. These two qualities are so powerful in the world. If the women can imbibe those qualities today, of course, these qualities are completely non-existent. So therefore we have this turmoil in the world, a lot to do with this particular factor. So vidiyavadhu jivanam. So what is that knowledge? This is now the stage of asakti. Now we've come to the stage of asakti, after ruchi. Asakti means what? It means great attachment, total attachment. Ruchi means taste. In the stage of ruchi, one is focusing on his devotion, right? His taste is coming from his devotion. But in the stage of asakti, his taste is coming from his focus on his Ishtadev. It's a difference. Try and understand this difference. In the stage of ruchi, there's devotion as the object. We're trying to inspire our devotional sentiments towards Radha and Krishna. But in the stage of asakti, we're trying to inspire that focus on our Ishtadev herself. It's higher, it's different. In the stage of ruchi, one is conscious that he's controlling his senses. He's aware that he's not letting his senses get the better of him. In the stage of asakti, it's happening automatically. Automatically, his senses are under control because his taste in the object is so fixed and so high. So there's a difference here in this. Also, in the stage of ruchi, we are making some effort to render our service. We're very conscious that we have to come and we have to perform our various services and duties. But in the stage of asakti, we're not even thinking that anything is an imposition. In other words, in the stage of asakti, everything is very automatically moving towards that sweet relationship and attachment and connection with our Ishtadev. It's a higher conception than ruchi, you're just enjoying the taste. There's a taste there, a sweetness there. Now asakti is beyond that, is higher than that. So this is the difference. And it's described as vidiyavadhu jivanam because there is profound knowledge that will carry us into that world of deep attachment. So the knowledge must be there. Sometimes we hear devotees in our sangha, because they've heard so many high topics, they say, oh, we don't want to hear all this jnana. Why don't you just tell us about Rasa Leela? What is Radha and Krishna doing? But how can you really contain that? How can you really relish that to its fullest degree unless we're grounded in this understanding of the tattva and siddhanta? It doesn't really work. We have to know that. And also, even more important than that, it is our duty to share this knowledge. By sharing this knowledge, your devotion and bhakti and ruchi and asakti will grow. Your bhajan will develop. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada used to say that preaching is the belching of our bhajan. It's like we take a lot of juice in the morning, drinking our naam, and then later on we belch that out as preaching. It's a beautiful analogy. And Srila Gurudev, one time, one sannyasi was asking Gurudev, "Oh Gurudev, I never get time for my bhajan. I'm always busy preaching." And Gurudev said, "No, your preaching is your bhajan. Because you can move your content of what you're speaking in any direction you want. And we're always hoping to bring it to the highest conception of the gopis' love for Krishna. This is where we're always wanting to come to. But in order to come to that place, the listener, the hearer, must be grounded and must feel comfortable sufficiently with all the other truths and siddhantas. So this vidiyavadhu jivanam is the fourth jewel. This principally is about knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of my identity, who I am. This knowledge has been revealed through the purification of our anartas at Chetodapana Marjanam. But then we came to the stage of Nishta. Nishta was a firm conviction, an absolute conviction. All of these anartas have gone far away now. And then the taste is coming to give us increased strength. Now some special knowledge is coming to give us that extra attachment, that full attachment, unwavering attachment. You don't drop back again from the stage of asakti. The stage of asakti is just before bhav. Bhav is a very high stage. So this stage of asakti is just before bhav. In the stage of asakti, we come to know three principles. It's called Bhagavat Prapti Abhilas. This means that I have a great thirst to attain Krishna. Such a thirst. I can't tolerate just even walking around, not being in that strong consciousness and remembrance of Sri Krishna. It becomes intolerable for me. This will be granted to us simply by vibrating the Hare Krishna mantra. Ultimately, this is where the mantra... What is all that? Oh, it's a nice ringtone. This Maha Mantra is bestowing these jewels that we're talking about. So this fourth jewel will be very easily bestowed simply by sincerely and enthusiastically taking to this Nam process. So the first is Bhagavat Prapti Abhilas, and then higher than that is Anukul Abhilas. Anukul means I'm not only looking to attain Krishna, I described this 2 days ago, but I'm saying it again because maybe some of you missed it. Anukul Abhilas means the desire to serve Krishna favorably, to do favorable devotional service, because you can do service that is not necessarily so personally favorable to Krishna. You're just doing various functions within a temple perhaps, but is it really taking your relationship closer to the Lord? Relationship is the heart. Relationship is everything. Relationship is where the sweetness is in this material world. How many trillions and zillions of songs are there every day about the boy loves the girl, etc., etc. All about relationship. So relationship in this world is understood to be the sweetest taste. What to speak of the spiritual reality? I explained the other day these energies of Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means eternality or existence. And then Chit means knowledge. So in the spiritual realm, what is the knowledge? The knowledge is of my various relationships. And then the Hladini Shakti or the Ananda is the sweet taste of those relationships. That is the ultimate essence of the spiritual reality, is our relationships with each other. That's why as practicing devotees, our relationships are paramount also. we must cultivate particularly this quality of respect for each other. Sometimes as we become very familiar with each other, perhaps there's an expression, familiarity breeds contempt, they say. But as a devotee, coming closer to another devotee, we should start to see Krishna within that other person. We said the other day that there is nothing in existence that is separate from Krishna. Particularly every devotee is vibrating so much aspects of Krishna personally. They have heard so many truths about Krishna. We warned it. Anyway, she's just sitting there. Okay. Russians are very heavy. They don't. One chance. Okay. Finish. Okay. We were warned. Anukul abhilas. What is favorable for Krishna's happiness, for service to Krishna. And the third is so hard, S-A-U-H-A-R-D, so hard abhilas. This means, how can I befriend Krishna? How can I understand that Krishna is my dearest friend? This is a very high concept. This conception was never entertained previously to the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because this is about spontaneous attraction. Previously, for example, in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, there was very much distance between the jiva and Krishna. It was all in honor, in awe and reverence. And in the history prior to the advent of Krishna, all of the relationships were principally in a mood of Aishwarya. They were not in this spontaneous attraction of friendship. Even today, imagine if you know one very good priest or someone like this in another religious sect, and he's worshipping God very nicely. Will he even entertain the idea that he can be a friend to the Lord? Is it even conceivable to him? It's a very high conception that we can be friends with Krishna. But we've heard this for so long, it's become a natural desire of our hearts to engage, to find this friendship with Krishna. So this is called Sohard Abhilas. So you see by these three desires, they're increasing in their sweetness and intensity. The first is to attain Krishna. Sometimes when I'm with a group, I ask them, all right, everyone put your hand up who wants to attain Krishna. Everyone puts their hand up. And then I say, who wants to actually render favorable, loving service to Krishna? And then again, we understand that's higher. But then who wants to make friends with Krishna? And again, that's even higher. So this is a progression. We can only understand this progression through this knowledge of the progression. So this is another understanding of why we need to have this fund of knowledge. And now again, what other sort of knowledge is necessary? We need to know what is bhakti. Very clearly, we need to know what is bhakti. So, throughout the thread that I've been presenting, I haven't mentioned once, actually, the definition of bhakti. I have mentioned in the first day, if you remember, where does bhakti come from? Who can remember? Who can explain to me? Where does bhakti come from performing good deeds? If I do lots of pious deeds, does that give me eligibility for bhakti? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying no. This would mean that bhakti is conditioned by karma. So this is not where bhakti is self-manifesting. She is already in the heart. Do you remember I discussed this? No. If you don't remember, no one else is going to remember.
She's very bright. But if you don't remember, who else is going to remember? You remember Mama? Yeah, he's brighter. Okay, he remembers. Good. So it's not conditioned by karma, bhakti. And does Krishna give bhakti? Why not? Huh? That's one reason, but the main reason is he would be accused of being partial. If he only gave Padabja Prabhu bhakti and not me, then Krishna is not my friend anymore. If he just bestows certain individuals bhakti, but not me, then isn't Krishna, you can accuse him of being partial. So bhakti is not given by Krishna. It's just like, I said yesterday, we were talking about that Siksastakam verse, and I was describing how the ocean is like Krishna, and Gurudev, he's like the rain cloud that takes from Krishna and distributes the sweet digestible rain. We can't drink the ocean water, but we can drink the sweet rainwater. So you can't go straight to Krishna. You can only come through Guru. So this is the answer what you gave. That bhakti is inspired in the heart by Guru. It's already there. Nitya siddhyasya bhavasya prakritam hiti sadhite. Nitya siddhyasya means eternally perfect. It's eternally perfect within the heart of the jiva. But it will become manifest. Who remembers the example I gave? I gave a very beautiful analogy. That fire within wood. Fire is within all wood. There's no piece of wood where the element fire is not present. All trees grow under the sun. They absorb the element fire from the sun. So they all have the dormant element of fire within wood. But the wood can never get on fire until another piece of wood touches it and ignites it. So similarly, Bhakti Devi will not be ignited ever until someone whose bhakti is flourishing comes in contact with us and ignites that dormant bhakti within our hearts. This is why, for example, anyone who never met Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj can never actually take or be given that bhakti lata by him. They can only be given that by one of his followers who already has it. Somebody who is not a direct disciple of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada can never get that same mercy that the direct disciple got. Not possible. We can get so much sukriti. Someone may come and hear all the teachings of our beloved Gurudev, but they will not have that bhakti lata, that kripa will not be inspired in their heart, because it has to come from a living representative. It has to be a living catalyst. That's why this Ritvic system is so completely bogus, that you think you can get bhakti from Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and you never met him. This is completely called apasidantic. This is not a reality, because it's a physical thing. It's about relationship. That's what Bhakti Devi is about. I just described the sweetness of relationship. We're trying to inspire our relationship for Radha and Krishna through service. Service is the symptom of love. If you love somebody, anybody, you serve them. So you're developing a relationship with that individual. We serve our mother, father, brother, sister, etc. from, so long. So we're developing these relationships. So Bhakti Devi will manifest by the mercy of the Sadguru, that person who already has bhakti. So this is where bhakti comes from. Now, the next question will be, well, what is bhakti? Who can tell me what is bhakti? Srila Gurudev wandered around the world, and in every single place he came to, he would ask this same question. He would ask it of 7-year-old little boys. I remember Srivas when he was first here.
when he was very young, and he was saying these verses. So what is the definition of bhakti? Who can say? Immediately, off the tip of your tongue. The definition of bhakti.
Something with the uninterrupted
Anya
flow.
abhilashisita sunyam jivanam karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu jivanam bhakti uttama. You must try to commit at least, even Tunga Vidya, she already knows it. This verse, this is like the real ABC. Without this verse, Gurudev would not be pleased at all. He would even ask, 5-6-year-olds, and they would be able to pronounce it. This is the full definition of bhakti. We should not only know it, but we should understand it. Anya, abhilashisita. We're talking now about knowledge. This vidiyavadhu, jivanam. This is what I've been describing. Where does Bhakti Devi come from? We have to know that. Is it something I go into Lloyd Bazaar and purchase? Where is Bhakti Devi? Where does she come from? What is that? What is her nature residing in the heart? So we've established that it comes from the pure sadhu, from Sadguru. Now what is bhakti? Anya abhilasita sunyam. Anya abhilas means full of material desires. Anya abhilas. Then sunyam. Sunyam means expelled or totally void of. Like we have sunyavad. A sunyavad is someone who believes in nothing. They meditate on zero. So you can perhaps remember it like that. Anya abhilas, not the sita, anya abhilas sunyam. Completely all material desires gone. Now there's a special clause in there. Sita, anya abhilasita sunyam. Who can explain what that means? You did know this. You just
No, I just remember I read it and it's in the New Morning Walk.
Okay.
That Gurudev was saying that it describes special circumstances.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
like when Draupadi called out to her husband and everyone, and she wasn't being saved, and then finally she called out to Krishna in complete surrender, and he became her sari and saved her. So I think that's what it means.
That's not usually the example that we give, because that's more an example of Sharanagati. Usually the example we give if we're in material consciousness and say, for example, we're driving in a car and suddenly someone bangs into us. Just at that instant, I'm crying out, Krishna! Krishna! In an extreme circumstance, crying for my material protection. It's not bhakti. How can it be bhakti? Trying to protect my material body. But still, Rupa Goswami says it's okay. It's okay to do that in a time of extreme emergency. You can call out to Krishna, even to protect your home, yourself, your friend, whatever like that. You bang your toe, Krishna! It's not bhakti banging your toe. It's not bhakti asking for the pain to be relieved. But still, it's okay. It doesn't compromise your bhakti. Rupa Goswami is so, on it. He's so much making it very, very clear for us. If we can understand these simple definitions deeply, hold them, grab them, practice speaking them. If you speak them, this is when actually we begin to understand them. So, there's a process, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. The process first is to hear, Shravanam. Then Kirtan. Kirtan means speaking. You hear these truths, then you speak them. And then what will come is Smaranam. We will become to remember these truths very easily. They will take a deep place in our consciousnesses. So anya abhilasita sunyam. Then jnana karmadi anavritam. What is jnana? Jnana is of two sorts or three sorts. Do you know this, or shall I just describe it? I'll just describe it again. Tomorrow I'll test you on it, because this is basic. So don't be afraid though. Don't not come. Have some courage. You need courage for bhakti also. So jnana, three types of jnana. There's jiva, brahm, aikya jnana it's called. Jiva, brahm, Aikya, A-I-K-H-Y-A, Aikya. This means impersonal knowledge, knowledge of impersonal Brahman. This is useless. We don't need that type of knowledge. And then there are two prominent types of knowledge that we do need. We need knowledge of who is Krishna. In Sanskrit, this is called Tat, T-A-T, Tat Padartha Gyan. Tat, like we say, Ambu Bhuva Swa Tat. Tat means everything that is in existence. It means Krishna. So what is knowledge of Krishna? We need to understand that Krishna has no material qualities. That's the first description, that he has no material qualities. Then we can understand that he has all spiritual qualities. And then we can understand that he is Sat Chit Ananda Mayi. He is the embodiment of these three principal energies of existence, knowledge, and pleasure. In this map, this Sat Chit Ananda is coming across from this side. In the middle is Chit, and on this side is the Ananda. All the red you can see this side is coming from the Shakti Tattva, directly from Sri Radha. The blue side here is coming from Baladev Prabhu. So this Sat Chit Ananda are the three principal energies that make the creation. These three energies are interacting constantly. We are made ourselves of Sat Chit Ananda. We have existence, we have a body, we have knowledge, and we taste pleasure. So we are in the microcosm. We, in a very small way, are the embodiment of that Sat Chit Ananda. But Sri Krishna is the total embodiment of that Sat Chit Ananda. So this is another understanding of who is Krishna. What I'm describing now is directly from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. If you can get a copy of that today, this will be very, very helpful. This is a ABC point to understand what is bhakti. We need to know. We're inspired by all kinds of things in our various acts of devotion. But to have it definitively described what is bhakti is very, very helpful. So now we're describing the 6 principal aspects of Krishna that describe Krishna. He has no material qualities. He has all spiritual qualities. And he has Sat Chit Ananda Mayi. He's also Sarva Shakti Achintya. He is the complete controller of all Shaktis. Not just Sat Chit Ananda, but of all Shaktis. It's inconceivable how he is the embodiment of that. And he is Rasaraj. He's the abode of all ras. In the realm of ras, we understand that Krishna can never be alone. He has, like Gurudev describes, like a music shop. It's packed with millions of wonderful instruments of rasa. But Krishna can't taste any of that rasa until someone plays those instruments. This is Sri Radha. She will play on all of Krishna's emotions and bring out those feelings. Remember I described this the other day? Do you remember? No one's looking at me like you remember. You have to give me some indication of what you're understanding, otherwise I don't know. But who remembers? I gave this analogy. You remember? He's very good. He remembers all. Top student. Okay. There's a prize for the top student. And there's a prize for the worst student. But understand that this and I was giving the example of even within ourselves, like mother will bring out a certain feeling in the son or daughter, right? She'll bring out an emotion. The father will bring out another emotion. You know, your friend will bring out another emotion. Certain people in the streets will bring out another emotion. Those emotions are dormant until that catalyst of that other individual brings them out. So this is like Sri Radha. She brings out this dormant rasa, you can say, in Krishna. Otherwise it doesn't come out. Sri Radha, she manifests herself in 360 nayikas or heroines. And then those 360 nayikas, they all manifest again in 360 forms to please all the various emotions within Krishna. This is why there are so many millions of gopis. Srila Bhakti Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he describes there are 350 million gopis dancing in the Rasa Leela. Don't try and relate that in a material calculation, because if there's 350 million gopis, they've probably all got brothers. That makes 750 million people, and they've got mothers and fathers. That's over 1 billion people in a little village of Braj. It doesn't compute. It's transcendental. But there are 350 million gopis dancing with Krishna to satisfy all his millions of emotions, to bring out this sweet rasa. So he is Rasa Raj. And that's the fifth quality of Krishna, describing this tat padarthagyan. And the sixth is Swayam Bhagavan. Swayam Bhagavan means in all the scripture, Krishna is declared as the supreme. So now here are 6 reasons why we should honor Krishna as the supreme. And you can read and reflect on these more clearly in that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. Bindu means a drop, Sindhu means the ocean. Rupa Goswami, he wrote the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of nectar of rasa. And then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he's taking one drop of that ocean in his Bindu, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. I'm just saying these things in case you don't know. Probably you already know this, basically. So these are 6 aspects about the personality of Krishna that compose the knowledge of knowing who is Krishna. Without knowing who is Krishna, how can our bhakti progress? It's not just, oh, I like his eyes, I like the way he stands, I like the idea of him playing a flute. No, we need to know more than this. So these 6 aspects fully describe the tattva of Krishna. And then the second sort of knowledge that we must have is knowledge of me. How else can we have relationship without me in the picture also, without the jiva? So this knowledge is called tvam padartha gyan. So we have tat padartha gyan and we have tvam, T-V-A-M. Tvam means knowledge of me, knowledge of I, knowledge of the jiva. So what is that knowledge of the jiva? That knowledge is that I am anu chit. Anu means atomic. I am very, 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 very small. And Krishna is puna. Puna means full, like the Purnima. Puna chit. He is full. Krishna is full. Krishna, I am controlled by the external energy, Maya. As long as I want to exploit her, she is my controller. As soon as I no longer want anything from Maya Devi, she cannot control me anymore. It's like if someone is trying to bribe you, and you know, your money doesn't interest me anymore. That person can't control you anymore. Similarly with Maya Devi, she will not control you if you don't want to exploit her or take anything from her. Then you will actually then straight away come under the control of Yoga Maya, who will support all our endeavors to render service to Radha and Krishna. If you suddenly want to go to Govardhan Hill, for example, and do a parikram, this is a very wonderful desire. Perhaps you'll get on the road and within a second you'll catch a ride. Within a second it'll just be like almost taking a plane out to Govardhan. It'll be just pulling you. And you'll see this is an action of Yoga Maya. She's pulling me. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh, I want to watch a movie or something. This is like Mahamaya. This becomes very difficult. All of a sudden there's no power, the computer breaks or something. All kinds of obstacles may come in the way. if we're trying to enjoy separately. We see this directly happening. And we should take our guide from these external magical arrangements that are around us. I know so perfectly in my life when I'm doing the right thing and when I'm doing the wrong thing. It's so simple to see. If you're walking confidently towards Krishna, Yoga Maya is assisting you. She's like a wind of energy coming along. It's like making a book publication. If the book publication is all on track, it's like smooth as silk. Everything just goes tuck, 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 tuck. There's no hiccup. I remember when we were doing Jivanam, that compilation. It was so simple. From the start, there was hardly any difficulties involved in it. Because Krishna wanted that to manifest. So his sincere devotees could very easily do that. But if something is not really what is in favor of Guru and Krishna, then it will become difficult because then there's some other motive involved. So understand the nature of the Jiva and Krishna. So we have two sorts of knowledge. Tat Padartha Gyan and Tvam Padartha Gyan. Tvam is about the Jiva and Tat is about Krishna. So I said at the very beginning of this class, don't think it's too dry just to hear these tattvic explanations. We need the medicine. We need the medicine of knowledge to cure the disease of ignorance. When the disease of ignorance is blown away, then we will have eyes of knowledge and we will see the reality. So we need to sometimes come to school and just to learn these ABCs of the spiritual truths. Yeah.
I am completely confused because you said first that there are three types of Gyan.
Three, yes.
Yes. Akya, Tat, and the third
Jiva,
one.
Aikya.
So Jiva, Tvam is the third one.
All right.
First you say person.
Because you said first there are three types and then two types, so...
No. There's three types of knowledge. But there's two types of knowledge that we need. The third type of knowledge is to be pushed away. We don't want that knowledge. Jiva Brahm Aikya Gyan. This Jiva Brahm Aikya Gyan is knowledge of impersonal Brahman. We don't want that knowledge. But it is a sort of knowledge. It is a type of knowledge. But we don't want that. That has no benefit. We want knowledge of Krishna, Tat Padartha Gyan, and we want knowledge of Jiva, Tvam Padartha Gyan. We want this knowledge. Without that knowledge, how can we proceed? Prabhupada, this is to show Tungavidya their greatness in the world. If Prahlad Maharaj had not been through those tremendous conflicts with his father, would we have glorified him to the same degree? Because we see his courage, his, strength in the face of those difficult... The Pandavas also. What sort of example? What about the gopis? What torturous times did they have? And this is all showing their greatness. When Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada made that Bombay temple, Mumbai temple, he went through so much hell. So this is showing the greatness of the devotee. When the history is written about Tungavidya Didi, living in Vrindavan for so many years, putting up with cold and building and this and so much hardship, this will be a glorification of the devotees. So all this is in glorification. And the devotee, it's not his karma.
I'm thinking that that part is there also, but it's just, that's one part of it. But another part is that Krishna has utilized us in many things, not just only light. If the light goes green, then he can go. Because the other day you said also that it is arranged. It's another level that everything goes very smooth.
Yes.
To be aware of that.
Yes.
So now you're saying what was like that.
It's all true, totally, what you just said. spiritual life is not straight, because both of these things are absolutely true. Did you all hear what she said? She says, I have said that when everything seems to go smoothly, you know that you're on track in the path of bhakti. But Tungavidya is very correctly saying, but lots of times impediments and obstacles come, even though our goal is actually really bhakti, like, for example, the Pandavas, like, for example, Prahlad Maharaj. So what is the reason when these obstacles come? It's not actually, Bhakti Devi is not in a straight line. So Srila Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj, he said very beautifully that the environment is always friendly. It's friendly towards bhakti. If something seems to be going in a negative way or seems to be obstructing, I have to examine that obstruction immediately. What was my intention? Was my intention to please Srila Gurudev? If it wasn't exactly, then this obstruction is showing me perhaps I'm going the wrong way. If that obstruction is still there, even though I want to please, like on some publications, when we did Bhagavad Gita, there was so much difficulties. But actually, Gurudev wanted that, so we had to plow through all those difficulties. And Krishna makes it like that. But we have to know the difference. What is my intention? What is my motivation? This is going to be described in the second part of this verse. There are two parts to this verse. This is a very, very good question you just asked. Because we have to be very broad in trying to understand bhakti. It's not all straightforward to understand. Scripture is not straightforward to understand. How is it that Krishna, for example, takes birth from Mother Yashoda, but he's birthless? How is it that he is fear personified, and yet he runs and hides in a fort in Dwarka? How is it that he's the most renounced personality, but he has 16,108 queens? How is it that he can't be bound, and yet Mother Yashoda binds him? These are all contradictions entirely. So Scripture is packed with these kind of contradictions. We must be very broad and understand how to reconcile all of these. They can all be reconciled under the one quality of love every single time. Every single question can always be answered from a platform of love. What is the real motivation? What is my real intention? What is my real desire? If that desire is pure, then the road will be very clear. So, this verse, anya abhilashisita sunyam, jnana karmadi anaritam, these first two lines, they're called tatashta lakshana. This means the external aspect of bhakti. It's not the intrinsic, internal mood. Is this too complicated? Or do you already know it? Or am I speaking too fast? You have to give me some feedback. You know this all. You've heard this so many times. That's good. That's good. Okay, I can understand that. I like to hear again, even if I know also. So even if you know, it's beneficial to hear again. And if you don't know, it's good to hear it many times. Yes.
I agree with you in the sense that you said when we're under the internal potency, we're completely taken care of, and it's all guided by the direction of Yogamaya and Guru and Krishna and Radhika and all others. So when something appears to be an obstacle or an impediment or an external conflict or something like that, it's given either by Krishna or it's meant to teach that particular person so that he develops in a specific way. He may be lacking.
That's one way. Both of those ways you've said are the same. It's given by Krishna. The other way is that it's your karma. These are the two ways. It's either karmic or it's given by Krishna. If it's given by Krishna, of course it's to teach. So if it's given by Krishna, it's to help us. If it's not given by Krishna...
But then you're not under the guidance of the internal potency. You're under the guidance of Mahamaya.
We are still karmically reaping the fruits of our previous millions of births. If you suddenly get a boil on your neck, it might be because of something you did in a previous birth. That actually that karmic reaction has to come out. How is that favorable for your bhakti? But by, yes, of course, by this resolute understanding that even the boil on the back of the neck with all its pain is making me cry more loudly to Sri Radha, make more effort to actually practice. Just 2 days ago, my dearest friend in England had a stroke, had 2 strokes actually, was suddenly in hospital. His name is Madan Gopal, you know him, and was suddenly in the hospital. And he wrote such a sobering letter. You know, he said, now I have fully taken shelter of Nam. I remember another devotee, what was the name of that fatty devotee who had cancer? Lilavati, yeah. She was doing all kinds of nonsense things. She suddenly got cancer, and within like 6 months she left her body. She became so serious about her Krishna consciousness. What a gift that was for her. I have another friend who's had cancer, throat cancer, in England. It made him, Devarshi, made him so serious about his devotional practice. So these things are certainly advantageous for our bhakti if we are understanding what is the goal. If we're lost in illusion and we're just trying to tend to the symptom of that problem rather than the root of it, which is my lack of bhakti, then we're lost. But if we can understand the real cause, but Srila Prabhupada, Guru, they explain that sometimes Krishna, like in the case of the Pandavas, he arranges something apparently negative to banish them for 13 years to the forest. This is not their karma. This is to show the world their greatness. That's why they went to the forest. And in the forest, what did they do? Yudhisthira Maharaj, he was with Domya, his priest, and so many brahmacharis and brahmins, and they would chant beautiful mantras. It was like a traveling temple wherever they were. They would entertain the rishis and sages because they had that magic plate, etc. of Draupadi's. So they were fully immersed in their devotion to Krishna. So even what appeared to be something negative was definitely positive. But how can we understand it? We have 3 ways to understand it. We can talk to a friendly devotee, and maybe that devotee, that sadhu, will be able to reconcile. We can look at scripture, or we can ask Guru. So we have always this Guru, Sadhu and Shastra to tally. Oh, I'm trying to do this particular act. I can remember one time when these devotees came from ISKCON, they came to Gurudev, they wanted to chop a tree down to build a house. And Gurudev said straight away, no, it's not good to chop a tree down. But they wouldn't accept that. They asked him again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And finally Gurudev said, you can do whatever you want, you know? Whatever you want to do. It's like they wanted to turn Gurudev's words around to being favorable for what they wanted to do. They didn't want to accept that truth. So sometimes the truth of our actions may not be the same as our senses, our material desires want to do it, but still we have to listen. You might want to eat 5 rasgullas, but actually it's not going to do you any good. So you have to develop that discrimination. Do you understand these points now? Okay. So, Gyan, and then karma. What is karma? Karma is the next word. Gyan, karmadi. Karma means that I am not performing anything for a social intention. I'm not doing something that is according to my naimitika karma, my temporary karma. I'm doing my actions that are for the benefit of my bhakti. I'm not performing a single action that is not going to benefit my bhakti. In the whole 24 hours of the day, I'm not going to perform any activity that is going to impede or slow my bhakti. So regular activity, karma means activity. So regular activity that is unfavorable, that has no connection with my bhakti, is rejected. So we have jnana, that is rejected, except we keep what is good. And karma is rejected, but we keep what is good, the activity for Krishna. And then jnana, karma, adi. Adi means etc. These are all things that have to be rejected. I began to explain just now that these first two lines are called tatashta lakshana. It means external. This external means that this is not bhakti. It's not bhakti to have material desires. It's not bhakti to have impersonal jnana. It's not bhakti to be performing activities that have no connection with my service. And then adi means like etc. Like Astanga yoga, hatha yoga, raja yoga, kriya yoga, different sorts of yogas that aren't really beneficial for my bhakti. These also have to be rejected. And then the last word in this first two lines is anavritam. Anavritam means not covered by. This qualifies the acceptance of knowledge that is not covering my bhakti. It qualifies the acceptance of activities that don't cover my bhakti. It qualifies even desires that don't cover my bhakti. So this covering of the bhakti is what we don't want. So all of these are the don'ts in the first two lines. And then the second two lines are called swarup lakshana. This swarup means the internal aspect of Bhakti Devi. And this is anukulyena krishnanushilanam. This anukul, what is favorable for Krishna's pleasure. Anukulyena krishnanu. And what is unmotivated and uninterrupted. And it's described like a flow of honey or fragrant oil. It's not checked. Only in this condition can Bhakti Devi really flourish. Now, to go even further into this, it's described that there are two aspects that one may appear to be favorable, and one may appear not to be favorable to bringing Krishna pleasure. When Krishna came into the arena and he was fighting with Chanura, Krishna was so happy. Krishna was always fighting with the cowherd boys in the fields, wrestling with them. He loved to wrestle, and here was a chance to have a real wrestle with someone, a challenger, big Chanura, and Mustika with Baladev. They were so happy to engage in that wrestling match. But was this bhakti, that those wrestlers were pleasing Krishna? Was that the intention of the wrestlers? No. The wrestlers wanted to kill Krishna. So their pleasing of Krishna was not bhakti. This is described as the overextension of the rule. And in Sanskrit, it's called avyakti. Avyakti. A-V-Y, Y-P-A-T-I. Avyakti. Now, there is the under-extension of the rule. When Mother Yashoda, she was feeding baby Krishna, Krishna was looking into the eyes of Mother Yashoda and thinking, "Oh, Mai, you have enough milk to completely satisfy me. I can drink your milk forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, eternally." And Mother Yashoda, she's looking at Krishna and she's thinking, "You can drink my milk eternally." This Vatsalya Bhav was so strong at this particular moment. And then what happened? The milk began to boil over on the stove, thinking it was worthless, giving up its life. And then Mother Yashoda, she very easily put Krishna down and ran for the milk. Krishna was furious that his mother had done. Was that bhakti? Of course it's bhakti. This is called ativyakti. This is the under-extension of the rule. So like this, Rupa Goswami explains, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains deeply. Perhaps if you don't understand this clearly, you have to hear many, 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 many times. But it's a very sweet point to understand. What is bhakti? We're trying to understand what is bhakti. What is the heart of bhakti? Yeah.
Are we learning this in order to discriminate in our own lives when we do things and are sure it's bhakti or not?
Of course.
We kind of have a gauge with which to measure our own activities,
Yes.
which are always mixed in some way. Thereby, we can kind of guide.
This description, Prabhu, is called Shuddha Bhakti. The mixed bhakti is called Mishra. And many times in life, we ourselves will be performing Mishra Bhakti. We will put ourselves in prominence over Krishna. Our satisfaction will be higher than the satisfaction of the Lord. This is called Mishra, but it's mixed. It can be mixed with Gyan, or it can be mixed with karma, with different activities. So this mixing is not what this definition is about. This definition is what is Shuddha Bhakti, pure Bhakti. This Bhakti, by the way, is not even Bhakti Ras yet. This is why it's the ABC. We haven't even come to Bhakti Ras yet. That's a little later. But this is the first step of understanding in my heart what is Bhakti. It's unmotivated, it's uninterrupted to be pure.
So the example of that would be like someone who's married and he's working outside and he's offering everything to Krishna. Karma Mishra Bhakti.
Yes, this is Karma Mishra Bhakti. Now, in answer to this question, we come to another three. We've got time. I'm going to just drop it all on you and you can figure it out. But I have to say at this time, the three types of bhakti, which is what you started to speak on. There are three types of bhakti that are considered bhakti. There is Aropa Siddha Bhakti, Sangha Siddha Bhakti, and Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Three different degrees of bhakti. They are all called bhakti, but there's differences in them again. You see, by hearing these topics, understanding these topics, when we go away and chant, we can more clearly analyze our own practices and see how much really on track am I in according to Shastra in following and imbibing the process of pure bhakti. What more do I have to do to tighten things up? We can do all this in a moment. We all have such good minds, brilliant minds. We must let this disease of attraction to the material energy become purified through the chanting. And then very easily we can absorb and understand these conceptions. They're not difficult. They may seem a little difficult when we hear them first or second, but when we've heard them for a little while, it's not difficult topics. Really. I'm not a scholar at all. Really, I can't even say the Sanskrit words half the time. You know, I never did very good in school particularly. You don't have to be very bright to understand these topics. You know, it's not, don't be intimidated by these Sanskrit terminologies. There's not so many Sanskrit terminologies. So we have Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Who can tell me what is that? Lasika, you know what is Aropa Siddha Bhakti? You don't, you don't know these things. Okay.
I don't know anything.
But up to
Bhakti looks like a rope.
yeah, it's close.
Dovetailing your propensities for Krishna's service.
Yes. I like to cook. It's my favorite activity. And I happen to offer it to Krishna. I like to paint. It's my favorite activity. And I'll just paint a picture of Krishna as well. I love music. It's my heart. So I'll play for Krishna. It's dovetailing my own talents and desires with a little bit of Krishna on the end. I love to make money. So I'll give some to Krishna. You know, my main enjoyment and pleasure is to make the money, not to give it to Krishna. This is called Aropa Siddha Bhakti, or it can be called Sakam Bhakti. Now, what is Sangha Siddha Bhakti? Sangha Siddha Bhakti means that I have many beautiful qualities, but if those qualities are not being steered towards glorification of Radha and Krishna, those qualities are useless. But by these good qualities of compassion, forgiveness, truthfulness, etc., if these are being used at the same time as my bhakti is developing, then these qualities will support my bhakti. But without bhakti, these qualities just by themselves are not bhakti. Do you understand? Sangha, siddha, bhakti. It's considered bhakti if some devotion is going on. The devotion may be of a very low grade. But if some devotion is going on, you may meet a person and they're so kind, they're so generous-hearted, they're doing so many beautiful things in the world, helping people, starving children, the rest of it, and they go to the temple once in a while. So there may be some bhakti amongst those good qualities. Actually, the bhakta himself will automatically develop these good qualities by the nature of the opening of Bhakti Devi herself. These good qualities will manifest. Because Bhakti Devi is just the repository of good qualities. So this is Sangha Siddha Bhakti. Then the third type of Bhakti is Swarup Siddha Bhakti. This is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These 9 principal practices of Bhakti Devi. Hearing, chanting, offering prayers, offering to the lotus feet of the Lord, kirtan, singing, what is it? Shravanam, hearing, kirtan, Vishnu, remembering, serving Krishna, dasyam. These 9, surrendering everything to Krishna. These are the 9 principal limbs of bhakti. This is called Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Please, all of you, you can very easily find a Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. There's boxes and boxes of them around here. Take the trouble today, in the very first verse of that book is described what is Uttam Bhakti. And that's everything I've been saying today. I haven't described today the Bhav aspect because I didn't want to say so much. I thought that would be enough. Once you've read that, you can get a copy of this.
She's in charge of the book.
Huh? No, but you have. I know you have.
There's lots of them.
Yes, there's lots of them. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. Just read this verse. Gurudeva said, you're not really my disciple unless you not only know this verse, but you know the meaning of this verse. Because it's the definition of bhakti, and it's what I have to keep remembering. What am I doing here in Vrindavan chanting Hare Krishna? I'm trying to ignite my bhakti within my heart. I need to know clearly. This is the first reason, and the second reason is to be able to give this to others. We must have this intention. All of you must become teachers or preachers of bhakti. Mahaprabhu wants it. If we teach this very, very quickly, we will understand these topics. Wherever you go in the world, there'll be somebody that you can teach these topics to. And by teaching these topics, then very quickly you'll learn. Okay. Does anyone have any quick question? Yeah.
You first had the class talking about Asakti, the 4th jewel Asakti.
Yes,
then
yes.
you went to Bhav, is the 6th stage.
We talked about Asakti being the great attachment. What creates the great attachment is the vidiyavadhu, jivanam. Vidya is the knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is described like a young wife. I'm very happy you said this. She's bringing the whole picture back of what we're talking about this morning. We're talking about this 4th jewel of the Siksastakam. The 4th jewel is the beauty and sweetness of pure knowledge, which brings us to the stage of asakti. I've had to go back to describe what is bhakti because I noticed that many people don't understand that. So I've had to go backwards actually. If you had all understood that, then I could have gone forward to another place, but I can't tell you something that is further than that when I see people don't understand what is that basic, because I want to describe what is the path, how do we get to Bhav from Asakti. So we have to first understand what is bhakti, then we first have to understand what is sadhan. That's described in another verse that Gurudev always wants us to know. Then we have to describe what is bhav. So we have to go step by step. But the principle of this verse, as you're saying, is about asakti. And I described at the beginning the nature of asakti in its difference to ruchi. Remember? I was saying that ruchi was about focusing on my devotion. But asakti is focusing on my ishtadev. And ruchi, there is some effort to control the senses, but in asakti, it's automatic. Like this. So these differences between ruchi and asakti. Asakti essentially means that great attachment to rendering service to Radha and Krishna. That's a very, very high stage, because it just comes, as I said, before the stage of bhav. So tomorrow we'll discuss the stage of bhav. So we're going quite slowly because we have to...
Yeah, my question also is about when you mentioned the three desires in the bhav stage, strong desire to attain Krishna.
This is in the asakti stage.
It is?
Yes, this is in the asakti stage. This Bhagavat Prapti Abhilashisita. Yes, Anukul. Yes. This having these three desires in the stage of asakti will mature in the stage of bhav. These three desires will be pacified and fulfilled in the stage of bhav. But these desires will arise. Sometimes in the stage of ruchi, these desires can come. And then they progress. These desires are not like all of a sudden fulfilled. It's like it gets more and more and more. Most of these desires are the beginning of something that is progressive. Okay. I've spoken for such a long time today. You're all very patient. Thank you for your patience and tolerance. Bhajan Rahasya. So if anybody wants a copy of this, Manohar Prabhu.
It's in the Bhajan Rahasya book.
Yeah. But if they don't have, you have it taken out, so it makes an easy copy. But if somebody wants... If somebody wants, yes. I have one extra copy here of it without colors. Does anybody want? Okay.
What about online JPEG?
Yeah, we can put up. No problem. No problem. Yeah.
We can also compare it.
I have this in Russian also. Yes. I'll give it to you. I have it on a file in Russian. It's already translated. I have many things in Russian. I have the Astakalya Lila in Russian. I have the 3 desires in Russian. The 4 reasons for Krishna's... You're Russian, huh? The 4 reasons for Krishna's descent in Russian. So I'll give you those. Okay? Are you all confused or are you all peaceful? Everyone's different?
Grateful.
It's
Grateful.
okay.
Grateful.
I have to have feedback because I have to know whether to speak quickly or slowly or you want more on this. I'm just here to serve you. What is going to make you understand these things? You know, you have to tell me, you have to talk to me. Okay. Sorry? One at a time. No, wait a minute. They're speaking already. Speak.
No, it's very good. I can understand you.
It's okay? Okay. Jagatam.
Recently I've understood Siksastakam as connection with the 9 limbs.
Yes.
But Sripad Bhakti is in relationship with your soul.
The Siksastakam Bhakti is not described as being directly in relationship with the 9 limbs. That's not how it's described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's described as being in relationship to principally good qualities. It's not about the limbs of bhakti. The limbs of bhakti become manifest in Swarup Siddha Bhakti, principally, specifically. Specifically in Swarup Siddha Bhakti are the 9 limbs of bhakti. Shravana, Kirtan, Vishnu, Smaranam, Tatsevam, Achandam, Sakyam. Huh? Yes. And because of that, knowledge of one's Sarupa manner. This knowledge is about clearing our ignorance. We're in ignorance. We need to clear. We need knowledge. When I go to the hippies sometimes, they are, what do you want to know all this knowledge for? Bash my head with knowledge. Let's just, have kirtan. But if you don't have knowledge, how can you cure the disease of the heart, which is avidya? Avidya. Today we're talking about vidya, to clear the disease. Okay, thank you very much. So,